Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a video series that I'm going to call Throwback, in which I look at games that are old but gold. Today we'll be looking at the Twilight Struggle. Now, the Twilight Struggle was originally a physical card game, but is now a digital card game as well. I believe the digital version was released back in either 2015 or 2016. I'll have to double check on that. Although the card game has been out since forever, the actual physical card game. Now, I've played the physical card game once or twice. I've played the digital version countless times. This game is actually quite difficult. Now, this is obviously, as you can see here in the title, oops, as you can see here in the title, based off the Cold War, and if we play offline and we create a game, you can basically pick one of two factions. You can play as the US or you can play as the USSR. Now, the reason I have the handicap at +2 is because the USSR has a lot of early game momentum. Basically, the early game is geared towards a Soviet victory, which is, let's get the flag. Yes, thank you. There we go. Um, the early game is geared towards the USSR, and also the USSR has the much like history, and also the USSR gets to play first. So much like the white player in chess, they always get the first turn. So in order to kind of like handicap that, much like in chess, I'm going to give myself a +2 modifier on my influence handicap, basically giving me a +2 during the initial setup stage. This isn't really overwhelming, honestly. I do know some people play with +3, some people play with +1, although the universal opinion seems to be give an influence handicap in favor of the American player. Now, I'm probably going to play a game as the USA and a game as the USSR to give you a taster of both. Now, if I haven't mentioned this already, I suck at this game, so I'm probably going to get thrashed by the AI after having thrashed a real life player. So, we'll see what happens. Alright, let's start the game. We're going to start. This is the US game, obviously. I'm probably still going to play a USSR game. Alright, start the game. Enough of me talking. No, there's going to be more talk because this is turn 0. Okay, turn 0. So this is V-Day. V-Day is basically the rush to Berlin. I think that's the best way you could put it. So, when it comes to turn 0, these turn 0s is basically you can add some old history elements. So, maybe, for example, if we get a 6, so 4 to 5 is the historical thing, right? Soviets reach Berlin first, no effect. It happens as it did history. And, oh, you can zoom in the background. That's not terribly great. Okay. But the higher the value is, the better it is for the American player. So, for example, if we're able to get a 6, so these are all modifiers. I'll explain that later. But if we get a 6 on a d6, not easy, but if we get a 6 on a d6, then we can get a bridge just far enough. And so basically we can match the influence that the Soviets hold in East Germany, which is pretty amazing. And also it eliminates the blockade event. And the blockade event is basically, it's a really cheap way for the USSR to make you discard a fairly powerful card. It simulates the Berlin airlift because, well, you got to Berlin first, so therefore the Berlin Wall cannot be used in the way that it did get used in history. And the lower it is, the worse it is for the American player, and the better for the USSR player. So here with 2 to 3, the USSR gets 2 additional Eastern European influence during setup, which basically nullifies the bonus that I gave myself at the very beginning of the game. And then if the 1 is rolled, then the Soviets advance past the Elbe, in which not only did they get 2 additional Eastern European influence during setup, but they also automatically receive 1 influence in West Germany and 1 influence in Austria during setup, which means they can contest West Germany or take Austria, although contesting West Germany is a far superior goal, especially if a far superior move, especially if they do get the cards that allow them to get more influence in West Germany. This can lead to some pretty brutal games. As I said, the USSR is geared towards the early game. And this is why the 6 is pretty good, because the 6 stops a lot of the USSR momentum, and it also stops the Berlin airlift, which again stops USSR momentum. So here we have 5 cards. You'll notice that there are 6 crises during the resolution stage, during the setup stage at least. Um, all 4 of these cards, the +1, +1, +2, X, these are all single use, whereas the 0, the dummy card, is you can use it as many times as you want. Now you're gonna have to play 6 cards, so you're gonna have to play this twice. You could play this 6 times. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could play this 6 times. But we're just gonna play it twice because we're gonna need every advantage we can get. So +1, +1, +2. I think these are all quite self-explanatory. The Soviets have -1, -1, -2. The X is basically you cancel out whatever they're playing. So the X can be really good. Say if they're playing Molotov, which is their -2, you can cancel Molotov. Or if you're unlucky, sorry, moving the mic there. Or if you're unlucky, you might just cancel a dummy card. And if you cancel a dummy card, then you just get another dummy card, so your X has just been wasted. So this is the real wild card here. This, I do not see as a brutally important thing, and I think they might be using their cancellation here. The AI does cheat a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean RNG always seems to favor them. At least in the games I've ran. So I am just going to use a +1. And they use Molotov. It was a 6. We made a mistake, but because we didn't get a 6 and we can't get the blockade, but it's unfortunate, but after saying that the AI cheats, we get a 6, but it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right, next one. Next one, 1945 elections. If you're unaware, 1945, the UK elections, despite the Tories basically winning the war, although after Chamberlain delayed the war as long as they could, 1945 UK elections were a Labour landslide, and as you can see, 2-3, no effect. But if it's a 1, then Labour wins in a huge landslide. The Tories failed to reach even 100 seats in the Commons. Honestly, I don't think that would ever have been possible, although, there is still Prime Minister May to prove me wrong. And basically, the US influence in the UK is reduced by 2. And that's a big problem because the UK, the US-UK special relationship is a really, really powerful card that I can use to simply, in conjunction with NATO, to get a lot of influence in Western Europe, especially if they play De Gaulle, which removes a lot of my influence in France. So that's pretty good. So that's pretty good for the Soviet player, rather. Certainly not good for us. So 4-5 is a coalition government. So the socialist governments, which is a Soviet event, has no effect on turns 1 or 2, which is pretty good because, again, USSR, early game momentum, etc., etc., etc. On a 6, the Tories are returned to power. You have to deal with Churchill. And so the socialist government's event, I mean, forget using it on turns 1 or 2. You can't use it until you can't even draw it until turn 4 because it's moved to the mid-war deck, which is when the mid-war, starts. The end war starts turn 7, I believe. Yeah, because there are 9 total turns in the game. And a Suez Crisis event, which is an event that the Soviets can use to kind of screw your influence in Israel, in France, in the UK, has no effect permanently. That's really good. They've already used their -2, so the cancel is probably not going to be too great. Having said all of that, I want to bait out, I believe, Biera, who is basically Stalin's lapdog. If you ever read Soviet history, is their special Xer, and I don't want to get X'd, so I'm just going to play the OSS and hope for the best. Oh, damn it, they played the -1, and yeah, luck was not a lady, not to us at least, because we could have gotten socialist governments. Oh well. Okay, so far both have been neutral, so that's fine. it's better than most things have been. I've had to play games where the entire thing is just red. Here you can tell if it's blue, it's uh, in favor of the Yanks. If it's red, it's in favor of the Soviets. And this just means neutral. I've had to play games where this entire thing's red. So the AI gonna AI. Okay, Yalta and Potsdam, 2 to 3, historical 1. The USSR can put one additional influence anywhere in Europe, which is pretty brutal, and they can also get Vietnam revolts or the Arab-Israeli War into hand before drawing cards on the first turn, which is, I mean, it's the Vietnam revolts and the Arab-Israeli War. Self-explanatory. 4 to 5, the U.S. may take Marshall Plan. Again, that's really good for us, especially since the Marshall Plan is a prerequisite for playing NATO. Or if we get a 6, not only do we get that, but we can also go first on all early war turns, which basically halts the USSR's momentum really, really fast, really brutally. So I'm going to play really dangerously here because Bira hasn't come out yet. And we'll try and hope that Bira is not played. And indeed, it was not, but we did kind of waste +1, but we didn't know it was going to roll a 5. So we were going to go first on all turns, and we're also going to be able to get the Marshall Plan. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. Chinese Civil War, 2 to 3, no effect. 4 to 5, the China card begins face down. The China card starts with the USSR. It's a really powerful card when it's used for influence in looking at time there, sorry. When it's used in Asia. But and the USSR player can use it in their very first turn. If the China card begins face down, that means they can't use it until turn 2. When it's face down, you can't use it that turn. So 4 to 5 helps us a little bit in stopping the Asia momentum, especially if we get an Asia scoring card. I'll get to that later. 1 means removes the Ussuri River Skirmish from the game. The Ussuri River Skirmish is a way just to get a way to get a lot of points really quickly. So a lot of operation points, which I'll get into later again. So this isn't too great if you have the China card, and also if you have the China card, so this isn't good at all. If you get a 6 though, then Taiwan is now permanently a battleground country, which is basically Taiwan is elevated to the state of, being China. And not only is the China card beginning face down, but we also start with free influence, which is enough to gain full influence in Taiwan, which is a battleground country. Battleground countries being more important than non-battleground countries. And we can replace the Formosan Resolution with the Nationalist China card, which is great because using the China card basically neutralizes the Formosan Resolution. So I'm gonna try pretty hard for this, and I'm gonna push for the +1 and hope that they don't use their -1. Damn it. Well, no effect. All right. Well, VJ Day. So 4 to 5, no effect. 2 to 3. South Korea receives 1 Soviet influence on a 1. Not only do they get 1 Soviet influence, but also the U.S.-Japan Mutual Defense Pact. This card is moved to the mid-war deck, which is a problem because this card basically cements Japan as a permanent U.S. ally. And it adds 1 USSR influence in each of Japan and South Korea during setup. Now, Japan is not worth fighting over for the USSR, honestly, because of this card. This card will instantly remove, will instantly make Japan pro-US forever. But them adding up in South Korea can become a problem. I believe they've used their -2, their -1, and their -1 already. So I have wasted my X, but we're going to use the X. Oh, and also 6 is, and there you go. That's their final. And 6, which we did get, is Japan surrenders after the Hiroshima bomb. Stalin reigns in surrogates. Do you see Stalin doing that? I don't. Remove the Korean War card from the game, which is awesome because that means South Korea is not going to be a threat. It's not going to be under threat, rather. And on turn 1, US ignores DEFCON restrictions, and DEFCON cannot go below 2. Which is important because if DEFCON goes below 2 and goes to 1, then you on your turn, then you lose the game. Alright. Wow, so far we've been really lucky. Okay. We're going to play 0, and we got very unlucky, so maybe I shouldn't have said that. That was a mistake. Hang on a sec. So here, the USSR receives 1 influence in Syria during setup, and also they can place 2 influence anywhere in the Middle East during setup, but no more than 1 per country. But that's a problem because basically the influence threshold in the Middle East is really, really, really low. They're all, I mean, if you look at Europe, most of them are 3s and 4s. You know, there is the 5 in the case of the United Kingdom. But other than that, they're mainly 3s and 4s. In the Middle East, there's Israel, which is a 4. There is Saudi Arabia and Iraq, which are both 3s. And then the rest are all 2s. So, this 2 influence is a lot. So that's unfortunate. But it is going to be what it is. We are going to take the Marshall Plan. Thank you very much. Alright, so their initial deployment has been to... What do you mean commit my decision? Yes, I've committed my decision. Thank you. Oh, for God's sake. Are you kidding? Oh, no, they're not. Okay. No, we're just waiting for the AI player. Okay. You see, I've had to record this a couple times because this game is a little bit buggy, unfortunately. So we can see their initial deployment was they took control of East Germany by +1. They took control of Poland, which they do not start in control of, by +1. Because, you know, the threshold you can see here in the top right corner is free. So we need, in order to be able to take control of Poland, we need 3 more than the opponent. They have taken both over by 4. They have taken Finland by 1. They have taken control of Syria. They're trying to fight us in Iran. They're trying to take Libya. They've taken Syria. Okay. And I believe that's it. Actually, I can check. Okay, yeah, +1 in Syria, so 0-2. So they deployed 1 in East Germany, deployed 4 in Poland, deployed 1 in Yugoslavia, deployed 1 in Libya, and deployed 1 in Iran. So they're trying to fight us in Iran. Yugoslavia, they're not going to be able to beat us in. Libya is going to be a problem. Poland, they don't start in control of, but the AI always goes after Poland, and rightfully so. And they cemented their rule over East Germany, and also because of their event in Israel, they get a automatic +1 in Syria, which is unfortunate because if they ever get the Arab-Israeli war, which I believe they will get at some point, because I don't think there's any turn 0 effect that nullifies that, that will help them in Israel because it is adjacent, as you can see. If you can see in this patchwork. That is the Middle East. Some things just don't change, I suppose. Alright, play 7 influence. And we can do this in all across all of the highlighting countries. Alright, we're going to take control of Canada. I'm going to leave some there because remember, we do have the 2 extra influence that we can deploy later. I'm going to take over that and that. France can get de Gaulle, so I guess we'll place 1 there. Should we? Sure. I'll place 1 in France. And we have 2 more, so I'm going to shore that up in Canada and West Germany. And yeah, that's going to be our thing. Alright. The headline phase is basically the first thing you play. And Asia. Asia's scoring is basically, they take a look at this, and then they determine, I mean, pause, read if you want. I've already explained too much. I mean, I think at this point I've gone like 18 minutes of explanation without playing the game. So just go ahead and read it if you want, but this is what the scoring screen looks like. Okay. Which is we drew a terrible hand. Jesus. All right, we're going to start with the Marshall Plan. Boom. Destalinization. So they get to move their influence around. Okay, so I can place 7 influence all in countries where, uh, one per country in countries where we, in countries where the USSR does not control, I believe. In all of these flashy countries. Okay, Greece and Turkey are both easy to take. So is this. I'm going to short Western Germany. And we're going to friend Finland. I've heard you don't like. I've heard the USSR has bad history with the Finns. All right, so okay, that was way too quick. What did he do? So he removed one from East Germany. So now instead of 0-4, it's 0-3. They still control it, and they put one in Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam. Well, yeah, we don't have a fantastic history in Vietnam. Okay, containment. This weakens all of their cards for the rest of the turn. No, it increases our cards, but same effect. I mean, it's net. The net same effect, which we're gonna need because our cards suck. Oh, and they're gonna start with a coup in Italy, and Italy has switched sides. We're all shocked. God damn it. Oh boy. Oh man. Oh boy. Oh, we can't play that. Not until we get rid of Asia scoring at least. I mean, we're not fighting over the Middle East, not yet. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do a coup. And should we try and re-coup Italy? Let's try to re-coup Italy. Italy switched sides again. Now they're neutral. Oh yeah, and sorry about that bang because our the people who live above us have decided not to fix their aircon. Thank you very much, neighbors. And there we go. Italy has switched sides. All right, we're gonna let them have Comic-Con, I don't know, which allows them to put some influence in Eastern Europe. I'm gonna resolve the event first so that they can't screw me over too much. Okay, yeah, all in useless countries. Good. Coup attempt. Because we can ignore. And we're gonna coup Italy again. And this time, it's now in DEFCON 2. We've been fighting over Italy so much that we're on the verge of nuclear annihilation. Oh dear. This helps them in Asia, that's not good. Oh yeah, I should probably be focusing in Asia because this is... Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like that either. But I can eat the De Gaulle thing. It removes all of my influence in France and adds one USSR influence. It's not great, but I drew a shit hand. Okay, I can add 4 influence, so I'm going to take control of Pakistan. I'm going to take control of South Korea. We're going to fight over Asia because I have to play this turn, otherwise I just lose the game. Okay, they're gonna use it for 4 influence. Where? Oh. Well, I kind of have to play this now, don't I? Because this means I expose all scoring cards, and then they can add 1 influence in Asia, which would kill me. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take a hit of 5. That's brutal because 20 points is a game win. So I'm gonna have to play. Yep. Ouch. It does mean, however, that I can safely play the Cambridge 5. Although, it also means that I can Space Race the Who Lost China. Space Race is basically a way for you just to throw away a card. Yep. Oh, they're using the China card already. Okay. I believe Who Lost China. If the USSR holds the China card, oh, thank you very much. Oh, oh, you saved my ass there. You have no idea. I'm going to use a coup attempt. Remember, DEFCON cannot go below 2 for for this first turn, which is great because I'm just going to coup. Damn it, Iran. Yeah, our coups in a this space raced Kremlin flew, and they failed. Yeah, American coups in Iran have historically not gone very well. All right, turn 2. Select an event to headline. Okay, defectors, I can cancel the USSR headline event, which is awesome. Which means if they play something really brutal, it's gone. Too bad. So sad. But they played the Truman Doctrine. Damn it. So they played one of our cards. See, this is what I mean by I believe the AI cheats. I mean, there's no way they like, th I gave no indication that I would. It just makes no sense that they would know. Unless their entire hand is full of American cards, but I highly doubt that. I highly, highly doubt that. Um. Okay, we're gonna play the Olympic Games. What's it gonna be, buddy? Hey, USA victory. Hey, we get 2 points back. Badly needed. Oh, they're gonna coup using the Vietnam. Oh, and of course they're successful. They roll a 6 on a d6. Yeah, I'm not bitter, you're bitter. But it looks like they're going after the Middle East very, very aggressively. So I'm going to resolve the event first, which is fine, because I don't have any scoring cards. But they do now know that. And since they've already played Nesser, I'm going to start mitigating their influence. Although if they do play the Middle Eastern scoring card, it's not going to look pretty. Okay, we now control Japan forever. Okay, they've taken France. And they're still going aggressively after. Okay, yeah, that is dodgy. That's gonna get spaced, I think. Okay, we're gonna use this to place influence. It will come back, so it's fine. I'm gonna keep fighting them over Egypt. Okay, they spaced 5-year plan. And they failed again. Soviet engineering. Am I right, my dudes? No? Okay. Okay, the Indo-Pakistani War. I think we're gonna try down Pakistan. We're probably gonna fail, but doesn't matter. It gives us mill ops. And because the DEFCON is already at 2, we can't do mill ops easily. And military operations. Which if you don't do enough of per turn, you just look weak, so therefore you lose points. Oh, hi Fidel. Oh, they're really fighting over. Oh. I don't like using the China card, but we're gonna have to use the China card. Nope. And nope. We're gonna make it so that it's less profitable for them to simply do the Middle East scoring, which I'm pretty convinced at this point that they do have Middle East scoring. And doing the scoring takes up a whole turn. So as long as takes up a whole action round, rather. So as long as I can keep, just mitigating their stuff, which is, it's the final round though. And he didn't play a Middle Eastern scoring card. I think I might have gone played. Well, we're just going to play the captured Nazi scientists who are automatically successful. USA, we're using Nazis. Oh, and they're using duck and cover for influence, okay. Degrade DEFCON by 1 level. What? Wait, did he just kamikaze and... after talking about how good the AI is, they just kamikazed. They must have spaced the wrong card. They must have accidentally space raced the 5-year plan, right? They space raced the 5-year plan, and so they couldn't space this card, and this card degrades DEFCON by 1 level. And so, because it was their turn, it's now DEFCON 1, so they played... Well, there we go. I think that's the earliest victory I've ever seen as the US. I'll record the USSR playthrough. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a nice one.